Hi, everybody. Sam here. Hope you're having a great day wherever you're in the world today. I'm so glad you have joined us for a micro interview with Caroline. And we have been talking a little bit before we hit record here, and you are in for a treat. She's going to share a tip, thought, or piece of advice with us today. And if you have been around Safe Park Connections for a while, we are so glad you came back. If you are new here, we are an online community group for women who are learning to create a life that we love one choice at a time. And we're going to start doing that right now with Caroline. And your company name is Carol Louise Art, and you are an artist, but that hasn't always been the case. So just share a little bit about who you are and then share your tip, thought, or piece of advice with the ladies. And then we'll have a little bit of a conversation after that.
Okay. So, yeah, in a previous life, I managed a preschool or worked with young children for nearly 20 years. And then about 2.5 years ago, I just hit burnout. I was just stuck on the hamster wheel of life and stressed and tired and exhausted. And I think I just really lost touch with who I was and what I wanted from life. So I ended up quitting my job and really doing a lot of soul searching and finding sort of rediscovering myself, I guess, and just finding what brought me joy and passion in my life.
Yeah. And so I love that we were talking a little bit before we hit record here for the interview about how so many women are taught to just do the things that they're supposed to do, not really what they want to do. And in that process, we lose who we are. And so on that journey that you help women and men too, but primarily women, and you're able to help them kind of be a little more creative and figure some of this stuff out. So what tip, thought, or piece of advice would you have for the women that are watching today or listening?
I think over the last couple of years, I think the thing I've learned most is just to be authentic to yourself and so follow what brings you joy and what lights you up. Because I just think by doing that, you become the best version of yourself. You show up better in the world. You show up better for yourself predominantly, but for everyone else in your life and really for the whole world. If we're all shining our light and showing up as our best selves, then I just think that brings that energy out into the world, to everyone else.
Yeah. We are kindred spirits because I tell the women that if you want to change the world, you have to start with you. You have to start with you. And so you talked about authenticity, and that's a really important thing. One of the things I have found is that most women that don't show up authentic, it's not because they don't want to, but it's because they don't know who they are. And so tell me a little bit, if you're open to that, just about what authenticity means to you, or maybe one thought of how to get closer to showing up as your true self.
Yeah, so I think when I was going through my burnout, I started seeing a counsellor who I saw for nearly a year. And one of the questions she first asked me were what my core values were. And I was so far removed from who I was. I couldn't answer her. I didn't really know what was important to me, what my values were. So I think it's probably just stripping it right back to that and starting from there, thinking about what is really important to you, what things bring you joy, what lights you up, what brings meaning to you, and then just going from there.
Yeah, that's so such good advice. Because if you don't know what your core values are and you get a question, do you want to do this or this? And you don't know, how are you going to make a decision? How are you going to trust your decisions? Because you don't know who
Yeah.
you are. And so starting with your core values is a
Nice.
wonderful.
And then when you have to make a decision, you can think whether or not it aligns with how you feel. And like you say, it's about that trust. It's rebuilding. I mean, I didn't even know how to trust myself anymore. It's rebuilding that trust in yourself and trusting and knowing that you can make decisions that are in line with what you believe in and that they are going to be the right decisions for you. So you can just start off with small things. It doesn't have to be anything major. I think just small steps at a time and building up that trust and relationship with yourself. So you can learn to believe in yourself again.
Yeah, that's so good. Because what we've done for so much of our life, at least I know I can't speak for everybody, but I know I can speak for me, is I would tell myself I would do something and I didn't do it. So I'd break trust with myself. I wouldn't keep my own word to me. And then when you stop trusting yourself, then you're just going to go down this negative spiral. So yeah, being able to trust yourself is critical. But I really appreciate what you said about it doesn't have to be a big thing. Start small. Pick one small thing. This is the smallest thing I'm doing right now to rebuild. I'm continuing to rebuild trust with myself. And one of the things I'm doing right now, which sounds very silly, but I work from home. I work my own schedule. I don't typically do anything before 10 a.m. Central. But I get up in the morning and I have a morning routine that really sets me up well for the day. And I like to stay cozy this time of year in bed because it's a little bit cold here. And by the time this releases, it's probably going to be warmer. But right now, it's February and it's cold. And so I like to stay in bed longer. And I'm making sure that I get out of bed by 8:30 a.m. Ultimately, I want to get up at 7 a.m. But if I tried to do 7 a.m. right now, and I'm not used to that, then I would crash and burn and then I wouldn't trust myself. So now I'm getting up at 8:30. It's really easy, not a hard thing. And then in a couple of weeks, I will move it back to 8 o'clock. And then I do that for a while, get used to 8 o'clock.
It's about setting yourself up for success rather than failure. So yeah, just doing it everything in small increments and just building on that success. Like you say, I don't know if you're like, I've always been an overachiever, a perfectionist. I've wanted to get everything right, do it all straight away. You know, if I started exercise, I'd go hard or go home and expect that I could do like 100 sit-ups or something. But do you know what? Even if exercise is your goal, even if you just get up and put on your gym clothes, don't have to do anything else. But just the smallest thing to start off with.
Yes.
And then the next day, week, whatever, just add on to it and you just kind of stack the habits up until you're getting where you want to go, rather than I would going up there. And then, like I say, just set yourself up to fail. But I think you need to set yourself up to succeed and celebrate your wins, you know?
Yes. Yeah. So there's two books I'll mention for anybody that's watching that's new. Maybe you haven't heard me talk about them, but one is called All It Takes Is a Goal. I'm looking. I think it's at home. All It Takes Is a Goal by John Acuff, Jon Acuff. And then also, and he talks about when you're setting a new goal, your small goal should be something so easy that people should laugh. Like me getting up at 8:30 a.m., people are like, really though? Yeah, it's a good small goal. But the other book is The Gap in the Gain by Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan. Life changing because it talks about measuring backwards to see how far you came instead of how far you missed. And it also talks about setting up the evening and morning routines. And it's been those two books, ladies, if you're looking for a way, especially if you're a high achiever, The Gap in the Gain. And if you're looking to have a better way to set goals that will allow you to really do them, Jon Acuff's All It Takes Is a Goal. Highly recommend both of those. So Caroline, I have a feeling we could probably do this all day long. But I do try and keep these kind of short so that women will watch them. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up today?
I would just say, sort of on the back of the habit thing, is definitely something that I've struggled with, is to celebrate your wins and really look at how far you've come, because I'm very good at like, I'll achieve something, and rather than taking a moment, think, I've actually done that. I'm really proud of myself. I'll be on to the next thing. And I think it's really important as well, just to take that time to celebrate yourself, be proud of yourself for everything you're doing, because you're showing up every day and you're doing it. You know, you've got through 100% of the days of your life. So I just think that is definitely something to celebrate.
Yes, I agree for sure. Show us your little puppy before we go. Show me your
One of
little
our
puppy
dogs.
there.
He is that's Annie.
Oh, sweet puppy. Thank you, Allie, for being with us today. And Caroline, I'm excited to share you with the women in the community and on social media. I'll make sure that your links are somewhere around this video, whether in the community or on social media. And so if they want to learn more about who you are and how you help in the world, they'll be able to click on through.
Thank you so much. It was lovely to talk to you.
Okay, have a great day.